Hey guys, like, share, and subscribe. This is going to be a continuation of the spiritual laws video I made. So, why are the spiritual laws what spiritual laws am I talking about? So, I made this comment, or actually, I changed my LinkedIn profile, and I had this guy reach out. He's like, as soon as he heard spiritual laws, he was out. Boom, gone. Poof. All right. So, I kind of don't have anything to do with somebody who's, trying to enforce spiritual laws. That tells me that one of two things usually is happening there. Most of the time, when people think about spiritual laws, they think it's just a religious thing. Uh, Spiritual laws are based on nature of reality. It's how reality works. So I'm not referring to spiritual laws around Hinduism or, some man-made religion where they have a list of rules to follow, like you have to wear masks and whatever, has nothing to do with reality, right? Talking about sovereignty and freedom and the law of one. If we're all one, there we are all one. We are accessing ourself through a vessel, deeper parts of ourselves. And so if we're not giving every vessel equal value, regardless of what state it's in, then internally we're a little bit conflicted, right? Because each vessel is growing. When you plant a seed, a tree grows, or a plant grows of some kind. Is the seed less important than the tree? No. So all stages of growth and development have equal value. But our society doesn't place value on each other like that. And so we see an imbalanced hierarchical system of values in our society, which pushes us into imbalance in the way people are treated, imbalance in the way, and it's old generational trauma. Right. It's stemmed from years and years and years and years of people growing up in families where, certain members of the family were treated differently, or if you were a man or a woman, you were treated differently, or maybe you were in a social group where your skin color was treated differently, or whatever, right? It's just a vessel. It's not even you, right? But that's just where we're at. So, as a society, we're starting to see all that break down. But, when we place more power into the hands of one person over another, then we cause ourselves harm. Now, yeah, it is that way. So, and this is something I was thinking of yesterday. The uh, the concept of money, right? We're gonna go back to money. You guys are probably rolling your eyes. You're like, "Oh, great, he's gonna go after money again." Money is an energetic tie to the past or the future, right? So, if you are focusing on making money, your focus is on preserving yourself because of fear of something that might happen in the future, or it could even be a around your own self-worth, how much you feel like you're connecting your self-worth to how much material wealth you have, which will always be a blind spot as far as your ability to interact with other people and express yourself and show how much worth you have for other, to someone else, as to for how much. If you're constantly worried about how much money you have, then in a moneyless society there would not be this issue, right? Everyone would have the same work. They would, if we're not connecting ourselves psychologically to the world out there, and understand that we can do, that we are the creators, then all that goes away. Some people might say, well, no, you don't obviously feel like you have self-worth, so you're not willing to sell yourself for money. It's like, I would argue that I would have less self-worth doing that. That I would sacrifice my principles of the fact that you and I are equal so that I need to take money from you. Now, if I do something for somebody, I'm open to receive in this world, right? But at the same time, you're always going to receive in different ways. So there's always an energetic exchange where you're always going to be receiving something in return. So we've just decided to build a society on a means of exchange that is like a capacitor that allows you to function at a different level than everybody else. Because we have an unequal value system. We don't value each other equally. People don't value each other equally. And so it all starts with the self. When you're not valuing yourself equal with your environment, then that comes out into an unequal value system. And your child gets locked away. It's all about letting the child out. A child doesn't have any debts, right? Who would put debts on a child? If we aren't treating each other like children and protecting one another, then we are feeding off of each other in some way, right? If we're not protecting one another like children. And so then you become a beast. Either you're a child or a beast. Yeah. A child has no debts. So just creating a system where you could possibly have a debt to somebody else. I mean, that's what money creates, right? Is if I get this thing from you, then I have a debt. Instead of me giving it freely and openly and expecting nothing in return, then there's no debt. That's unconditional love. But we don't live in that. We can have that for ourselves. And in a way, when you feel that way about yourself and you have no debts, then it's a spiritual thing. If you feel like you have debts and you're holding yourself to those debts and they're weighing you down, then you'll be weighed down. I know. I'm the first one. I've asked for money so many times and felt like I need to pay this money back. I got to pay this money back. And then it gets to be your focus, and then you can't function, right? If your focus is your debts and your losses, then you won't. Or focus on what you've lost, then you'll never gain anything, because you're always focusing on loss. You're never focusing on what you're creating for yourself. Deep spiritual lessons to be learned, right? Things that keep your inner child locked away. You can't have fun if you're thinking about debt. Never will be able to. And so this whole society has tried to keep the inner child locked away by making sure that everybody feels like they are in debt. I mean, think about it. People talk about it all the time. Oh, we have a national debt of this, but we don't. It's just that we agreed to allow a private bank to issue money. They don't have debt. Why should we? Just because they're issuing money. What difference does that make? Right? So there's a lot of people now, I mentioned it in one of my other videos, that are writing 1099As to pay for stuff, because it's a form that allows you to acquire or recover foreclosed properties. Anything's property. Anything that's created is property. Doesn't matter if it's money or whatever. So it's an acquirement form. and you're accessing the trust that was created in 1933 because the United States went bankrupt. So they created a trust, and then they had to create a security for the trust. So the security was a social security number, a legal entity that represented your legal entity, right? When you're born, you're issued this legal entity number, a social security number. It's the security for the trust. And so you are the beneficiary of that security, right? It's yours. You are not it. You're not a legal entity, right? So there's been hundreds of people out there that are trying to do this and create this. There's been some success stories, but it's got to work itself through the court systems, right? I mean, if you write out a 1099-A and all the congruent forms to send that over to the federal government to pay for something, and have the U.S. Treasury still has to provide some currency to somebody to pay for that thing, or discharge the debt, with the bank. Let's say you're trying to eliminate a mortgage, buy a car, whatever. Right? A dealership isn't just going to give you a car and they get held with the balance if the 1099-A doesn't work, right? They can act as trust for you, the beneficiary, for buying that thing, as long as they know how to do it, and then the Treasury honors that obligation that they have to fulfill as the trust, right? Why should we even have to deal with that, right? Why not walk away? A lot of my opinions have changed over the years, and even recently, just about what does what. It has more to do with a deeply spiritual thing of whether or not you feel like you are in debt. Are you in debt? Do people make you feel like you are in debt? All you can do is say you're sorry. At the end of the day, if you owe somebody something, and say you're sorry, and what do you want from me? I'll do anything you ask of me. But I won't worship this thing that has created debt and bondage, because I would think less of myself if I did that. Open to receive, Yeah. Like, share, and subscribe. And tell me what you guys think in the comments. These are deeply spiritual things, that we find in our society, that it's locked away our inner child for so long that people don't feel like they can go play and create what they want to create, because we live in a system of debt that tries to put you in debt for everything that you do. So, we have to offer some kind of exchange, right? I mean, feels like, or do we, right? The sun shines. One of my favorite sayings when they asks him about, I can't remember what the conversation was about, but then he looked over to the lilies. He said, "See the lilies of the field and how they grow. Neither do they toil or pray." And it's like, they don't worry about whether or not they're going to get sunlight or water or soil. They just sit there and grow. Love you guys. Have a beautiful day. Let's get one oracle card. Let's see what the oracle has to say for us. I would love to hear you guys' opinion on that. What is your best path forward? Maybe sitting on one spot and just see what happens, right? Say, we as a people are worth a lot more than what we were given, right? Or what we were told. The lies. New chapter. Shows a door with light coming through. I think that's a pretty good message. Don't you guys think? Love you guys. Have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you later.